I just kept shooting. Because he wouldn't stop.
And what happened after you shot him?
I shot him again.
Meet 70-year-old Yagwanda Bushbaum, a granny who shot the man she was obsessed with, all because he didn't love her back. And as she accuses her own victim of a heinous crime.
I know I could please you. It's the sickest thing to ever say.
I started crying. I don't know. I just thought, no.
She is unaware that he is still alive, handcuffed to a hospital bed because of her. Now, detectives will have to pull out every trick they can to learn the truth. What actually happened between this granny and her neighbor.
He's injured in a hospital. He has life-debilitating injuries. He will never be the same again.
And I never meant for it to go the way it did. I don't think I could have lived with the fact that I'd killed him.
On September 25th, 2020, police in Pensacola, Florida raced to an apartment complex after 6 shots rang into the night air. A woman, Yagwanda Bushbaum, reported that she had shot her neighbor David after he tried to inappropriately touch her. When police arrived, they discovered David, a devoted physical therapist, unconscious, bleeding out from 6 gunshot wounds. He was forced to undergo 2 major surgeries, but his recovery left him in a coma for days. In the meantime, detectives are hoping for answers straight from the source, the shooter herself. The following footage was provided to us by the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
It's just going to be a little bit longer, okay? How you feeling, though, otherwise? I know you're a little shook up, right? Like I said, the most important part here is I want you to tell me if you have any issues, any health concerns that might pop up. I just want you to try to stay as calm as possible. Unfortunately, I decided to use these really drab colors throughout this place, and the lighting's a little bit morose. So
I'm on medication for bipolar 1.
okay. So like I said, just I want you just to try to be as calm as possible, and just I know it's easier said than done to say to relax after such a crazy night right now, but like I said, I'm just waiting on my partner to get here, and then we'll go ahead and get the whole story from you, okay?
Well, they'll get Yagwanda's story, which is far, far from the truth. Because if there's one thing Yogi is good at, it's playing the victim. When detectives return, they read her rights and get down to business. In between all of Yogi's rambling and woe is me monologues, that is.
So, obviously the circumstances of what happened tonight is what we're interested in. Let's go ahead and just start from the very, very beginning, okay?
Okay.
And like I said, every fine little detail is very important to us.
Okay.
So let's start from...
Well, let's go back because this is a continuation from the other night, right? From what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start the other night. I understand that you probably told Deputy Touchstone all of that. Let's go back, a couple days and start there with that night.
Okay.
On the 22nd?
I had the windows open. I had the screen door, sliding glass door open. And I was in the bathroom. And I heard somebody, my nickname is Yogi, okay? And I knew it was a male voice, and I said, just a minute. And when I came out of the bathroom, he was in the apartment. He threw me back on the bed. That's where my bed is, right there. And held my hands back and put his mouth on mine, and he was pulling his from down. That's all I can remember. Yeah. My doorbell rang because I was expecting one of my friends to come over. And I couldn't scream. I couldn't do anything. So he left. Then my landlord came over, and that's when he called the police, the sheriff's department. And I was going to go today and get the restraining order because I called the other day and it was closed. So he had been, it wouldn't stop. It just wouldn't stop.
And what do you mean by?
How do you say, in
Innuendos.
But then he tried to touch me one time.
Was this before or after the first incident on the 22nd?
I'm sorry, before.
Okay.
And he hadn't lived there that long. I don't know how long. And he was walking by my apartment and just trying to make conversation and asked me would I'd like to come over and have a beer on his porch with the light on. And I said, okay, but I can only stay for a few minutes. So we were sitting there just talking, and then he put his hand on my shoulder. And then he started going for my, and I jumped up. And I threw the beer bottle at him. It was.
When was that incident?
It was right after he moved in. I don't know. I didn't report it.
Okay. Do you think it was a month ago, a week ago?
Shortly after he had moved in. And I think we moved in, June or July. I don't know.
Okay.
But even after that, he would still make his presence known. And I had told him, I said, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't come around me.
There's a lot to break down in the story of old Yogi here. Unfortunately, unlike her namesake, she's trying to steal lives, not just picnic baskets. And as you'll soon see, this isn't the first person whose life she's tried to ruin with disgusting, intricate lies. On September 22, 2020, Yogi reported to her apartment manager, Craig, that David had assaulted her after weeks of verbal harassment. In response, the apartment manager called 911, who opened a file on David and issued a warrant for his arrest. Yogi is telling the truth about one thing. David did upset her on the 22nd, but not because he touched her or said anything remotely sexual to her. No, it was something much, much more ridiculous that set off this evil grandma.
Tonight, I had gone out to my storage room and unlocked it and got a pair of scissors out to cut the rose bushes back. And I wasn't going to go back out because I knew not to go out there. I didn't know I hadn't locked that door. I didn't know it. But I went back on the front and I looked real close as it was getting dark. And I thought, that's him. That's him. It's got to be him. And when
Where was he at?
at the post where we do our mail, and then he came. I went in because I thought, okay. I went in, and then he opened it. He opened the door. I hadn't locked it. I had the gun. I had it.
Where did you keep your gun at inside the house?
Bedroom.
In the bedroom?
And I'd been having it with me, even if I went on the front porch to drink a cup of coffee or whatever. Because I didn't know. But the landlord said, don't go back on the back porch. And I just went out, just for a few minutes. I was sure that I had locked it. But he came back. So before he could touch me, I just turned because my gun was on the bed, but it was covered. And I grabbed it because he was banging on the door at first. And I thought, what? And then by the time, I don't know how everything happened, but he was there. He didn't come, but he was coming in because I had the blinds closed. And I thought, and I told him, I said, no. And I grabbed my weapon and I started shooting.
Where was he at exactly when you started shooting?
Huh? I'm sorry.
Where was he exactly when you started shooting?
On the concrete outside my door.
Okay.
But he had his hands back on the blinds. And so when he saw me, he was like, I don't know, I started crying, I don't know. I just thought, no more. I couldn't let him back up. I couldn't.
Did he say anything to you while he was standing at the door?
I knew he was there for it. And I think he said, no, Yogi. After I shot him, I don't know where I shot him first.
You said he fell?
Huh?
You said he fell?
I'm sorry.
You said he fell down?
And he kept trying to move. I just kept shooting. Because he wouldn't stop. It'd been happening since he got there. He just kept it up. And I told my landlord about the first occurrence. So he was aware of that.
Yogi isn't kidding when she says she just kept shooting. In total, David was shot 6 times, all but the first of which occurred while he was lying on the ground, bleeding and defenseless. Of course, Yogi is eager to play up how terrified she was of David at the time because of the past incident where he allegedly assaulted her on the 22nd. Which brings us back to her claims about what happened that day, 3 days before David was shot, to make her so afraid of him, supposedly.
On the 22nd, I called my landlord and I just told him that we needed to talk whenever he came in the next morning. And it was just after hours done. And I thought, I don't know what to do. But I left a message that he tried to rape me, and Craig came over. He said, I didn't know what to do.
By the time September 22nd rolled around, David had only been renting the apartment for 2 months. She had recently moved out because on the 16th, during a hurricane, a tree fell on his apartment, caving in the roof. In those few weeks, he had a handful of minor encounters with Yogi, meaningless, quick chats. But on the 22nd, when Yogi saw David speaking to another woman in the apartment complex, she became irate. David was standing in the living room speaking to the woman, and when Yogi spotted the two, she began pacing back and forth, glaring at them through the windows. After, she approached David and yelled at him, "I saw you talking to her." David, who was half Yogi's age and had shown zero romantic or sexual interest in her, could not wrap his head around what she was so upset about. But he soon found out.
When you first started shooting, when he was at the doorway, and it's important because obviously, we weren't there, so we need to be able to paint a picture in our heads. Had he, at this point, was he in the doorway?
No.
Was he inside the apartment?
No, he was right there at the edge of the
concrete on the outside?
Yeah, where the door frame slides.
And at this point, he had attempted to come in?
Yeah, he opened the door. He was spreading the blinds.
He had the little cool blinds?
Right.
Let me ask you this, Uganda. What made you shoot? What were you feeling? What were you thinking?
In fear.
In fear?
He's going to do it again. But this time he was going to get away with it.
And by doing it again, you're talking about
sure,
he would get away with it this time.
Because I've been calling the sheriff's department, and they told me to call the police department, and everybody had the warrant out, but they couldn't find him. I kept thinking, you can't, what do you mean you can't find him? All I knew was to keep my weapon with me. I had no idea I didn't know. I kept trying to find out.
Let me ask you this, ma'am. Had you and him been in any kind of relationship in the past?
No.
Okay.
No. He wanted that. He made that clear when I was sitting on the porch. Just
How often had you hung out with him? Just that one time?
Just that one time. And when he put his hands on me.
If there's one important thing to know about Yogi, and perhaps the most ridiculous thing about her, is that she thinks everybody wants her. Despite the fact that David expressed concerns to his coworkers that Yogi was stalking him and made him uncomfortable, she was convinced that he was head over heels for her. And not just David. In the past, she had been admonished for trying to seduce her landlord, a pest control man, and quite literally any male who had the misfortune of moving into or stepping foot in the apartment complex.
Like I said, when you saw him, I'm going to go back to the incident where he's out back by the sliding glass door.
Uh-huh.
All right. I know investigator Timo over here had already kind of hit that topic.
Uh-huh.
How exactly did you feel at that moment?
In fear.
You were in fear?
In fear. I mean, my God, I'm 70 years old. No. I'm not going back down that road. I'm not. No.
What were you in fear of?
I'd already been through it with my father. I wasn't going back. No one can know about my disability. It's bipolar. I know I'm bipolar. And I do everything by the book. I take my medication. This was not a bipolar moment because I am. I am stable.
When after you had shot him,
Mm-hmm.
and right before deputies had arrived on scene, where were you standing?
Where's the standing?
Yes, ma'am.
I think where part of our gate had gone down. And I don't know how far back. One of my neighbors, she had come out and I told her, I said, go away. Go away. I didn't know who it was at first, but it's her. And we don't get along. She hates my damn guts anyway.
Her neighbor has a great reason for hating her guts. Because in May, just a few months before she accused David of assaulting her, she accused a 30-year-old female neighbor of the same thing after the two got into a verbal altercation over something minimal. That's right. This isn't Yogi's first rodeo falsely accusing people that upset her of harassment.
First things first, do you mind raising your right hand for me? Do you swear and affirm everything you told me is the absolute truth?
Yes.
It's important to us. I want you to know that, given the circumstances of what's going on, understand that you're well within your right here to defend yourself, okay? What's important to us tonight is that we're able to get you to move forward from this, okay? First things first with that is, do you have any family here? Do you have any good close friends?
Yeah.
Do they live near you?
No. I have a girlfriend named Joy. She lives, I think, Bloodworth Lane or something like that.
And the reason why is because this has obviously been a very, very crazy night for you. And feel a lot more comfortable myself is that we can get with her and maybe you guys can, meet up here. Maybe you can stay there with her. She can, you guys spend some bonding time together.
She knows.
Does she know already?
Yeah, but she doesn't know about tonight.
Okay.
We're going to go Monday.
To the courthouse?
Yeah. And today I hadn't slept. I just wanted some sleep.
I understand. Like I said, we're not condemning you at all in the situation. You understand the reason you're in here is because we have to paint a picture. The situation for us is we come out here and we don't know a lot. We know what happened on the 22nd, but we don't know what happened tonight. So that's why it was important for you to come down here and speak to us. That way we can paint a picture for other individuals who look at this and want to know what happened. So it has to make sense for us, has to make sense for other people too. So, and I really do appreciate you being so forthcoming and, like I said, helping us with that.
Why couldn't they find him?
Well, unfortunately, with a lot of the hurricane stuff, it's displaced a lot of things. And the situations are, we have other calls to service. We have situations where, we're assisting with hurricane relief. And then we also have the fact that, individuals aren't always home. They might be out and wandering. So, and we have a tremendous amount of warrants throughout the county, you can imagine. So it's not that we didn't have a priority for it. It's just, it's difficult for us to be able to use our manpower through such a bad time right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, given the circumstances though, like even tonight, you were told, we're always tied up in a lot of other stuff happening as well. But just go ahead and sit tight for me a little bit longer. I'm going to call Joy and see if she can come get you some time. That way you have somebody to be with tonight, okay?
The nerve that Yogi has to question why it took police more than 3 days to arrest the man that she made a false accusation against is pretty unbelievable. What's more unbelievable is that less than a month later, Yogi returns to change her story. Of course, her next one is fake too. But by this time, David is conscious and talking, and police have gotten both sides of the story.
So, the reason we're here today too, initially, obviously you reached out to me over the phone.
Yeah.
And I guess you said you had some stuff to change or add to your statement initially. Mm-hmm. So, what we always like to say is, because the doors are locked here at the sheriff's office, we have to escort you out, that at any given time, you're free to leave.
Okay.
If you want to leave, just inform us, and we'll promptly get you out.
Okay.
That you're here on your own will, correct?
Okay.
Is that correct?
Right.
Perfect.
It's pretty safe to say that Yogi thinking is a dangerous activity. By now, detectives are bored of the additional details she's giving them in an attempt to garner attention and sympathy. Because after speaking with David, who woke up handcuffed to his hospital bed after being shot 6 times and was told that he had been accused of an absolutely heinous crime, sympathy is not something these detectives have for her.
Let's go ahead and start from the very beginning, and we're going to start on probably from the moment that David first moved in. Okay?
Okay.
And how your guys' relationship started, how you guys talked, and all those incidents. And I remember you specifically bringing up an incident about you throwing a beer bottle.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and start with when he moved in?
Okay. When he first moved in, I wasn't paying any attention to anybody was even moving in. I was on my front porch taking care of the plants. I didn't know who it was, but he stopped and introduced himself. I remember that. And I was okay. But I'm like that because if I don't know you, I'm certainly not going to just come up to you and say, I'm so-and-so. It's sort of stupid. And, yes, of course, everybody appears nice. Everybody puts on an image, another face whenever they're
So what was your, like I said, the first, any type of contact you had? What was demeanor? Was he nice? Was he a gentleman-like?
Yeah. I do recall he showed me his furniture. I do remember. He asked me to see his furniture. The door was left open. I just walked in. And he just bought it. Just everything black and white in there. And I just made the comment. I didn't go any further. Yeah, it looked good. It was pretty.
Mhm.
So I left, and then when he invited me over after that to sit on his front porch, little porch light was on. If I wanted to have a beer, and I said, if I'm going to drink a beer, it's non-alcoholic. And if I should have a real beer, I would only drink like half of it.
Okay.
And so I brought my own beer. And his was a real pretty can, the long one, ultra kind. So we were just talking, trying to get to know each other, or whatever you want to say it was. And it had to be within 10 minutes. I knew his arm was extended on the back of the swing. It's a swing. I didn't think anything about that, But then, and it happened quickly. He got this rip in this shoulder. He reached with his right arm, and he started doing this on my shoulder. I'm getting ready to get it out of my mouth. Not a very pleasant word. At that time, I had a tank top on, probably like I had the other night. And but this time his hand is halfway down, the loose material. Yeah, I'm sure I said Epps too. And I got up as fast as I could, and mine was a glass bottle. I don't know where it went. All I know is I threw it, and I threw it towards him. And I called him some choice words. He kept doing innuendos.
What do you mean by innuendos? Do you have any examples?
Walking by and making comments sort of like I didn't know what I was missing. And I know I could please you. It was the sickest thing to ever say.
Someone saying that to Yogi would indeed be the sickest thing ever. It's important to note that at the time of this incident, David had just started a short separation from his wife, which was hard on both parties. The separation only lasted a few months before the couple reconciled, and as of the time they were in court for this case, the two were happily back together. According to David and his friends, he had zero interest in pursuing a romantic relationship with anyone, let alone Yogi.
Didn't want to contact law enforcement. You can see from our perspective,
Yeah.
It's a little odd, especially with such a traumatic incident.
Right. I'm not the one that called. You talking about Robbie?
No, I'm talking about, I was just forgetting about Robbie's incident.
I just did not want any more problems, anxiety, turmoil, torture really is what it is. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't want it.
But is it fair to say that it's just as much psychological torture knowing that this individual is still outside your house when it could be handled by law enforcement?
think of it. I mean, I didn't think of it that way.
You didn't call law enforcement, but you did call your property manager,
Yes.
Craig.
Craig.
You did call Craig. A little while later, you remember what time you called Craig?
What time did Craig come out?
I don't know what time he came out. That's what I was asking you. Did you wait a couple hours and then call him, or did you call him right away?
I waited a few hours.
Okay.
And
So you
Craig,
called Craig after a couple hours, and then he contacted us, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that your wishes that he contacted us, or did you just want to bring it to the property manager's attention?
well, I'd already called him and on the after hours phone and told him the next morning I wanted to meet with him.
You remember what you said to him on the actual voicemail?
Something about, I know I had mentioned, I said, you remember the neighbor next door? But, and I called back maybe an hour later, maybe sooner, and I said, he tried, and that's what happened. I didn't even know if Craig was even going to pick up that message that he did. So he came first. I still hadn't called 911. Craig came to my door and he said, "My God, Yogi, come with me." And he called 911 right there. So I stayed in my apartment while he met with the officer, and then he called me over.
Is there any information from that night that you didn't provide to Deputy Touchdown?
The night of what?
Is there any information you didn't provide to Deputy Touchdown that might have been very important for that case
Anything you can remember now
that you forgot to mention?
about the attempted?
No more than how what I've said.
So after the 22nd happens, Deputy Touchdown comes out and takes your initial report. And
Yeah, Craig called 911.
did Craig ever go looking? Did he ever try talking? What was?
No, we left it as it was. Craig is he'd already called corporate. And he said, something to the effect of, he hadn't hurt me or anything, or even what he did was wrong, and Craig recognized that, but just to keep him posted.
When you contacted Craig about this incident of it, or an attempted, what was your ultimate, because you didn't contact law enforcement, you contacted Craig. Did you just want Craig to know about this? Why did you call Craig?
Just to know about it.
Okay. And what was your outcome, or what did you want out of that? Did you want Craig to have him removed from the property? Did you want Craig to, did you want someone to talk to?
I wanted him to reprimand him.
And how so reprimand him?
Well, I'm sure he could have been evicted, or he would have been. But still, you're going back to he said, she said. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious because we're trying to figure out exactly what decisions, when these decisions were made, what you were thinking at the same time. So, because these are all things that people are going to ask, and we have to have answers for.
Trying, yeah.
So,
At trial, it was speculated that Yogi brought the incident to Craig's attention not only to get revenge on David, but to get more sympathy and attention from him. Because, as you'll soon see, Yogi wasn't just obsessed with David. Her crazy mind has room for many, many men.
on the 25th, the night of the shooting occurred, I want you to go ahead and just tell me the whole story from the beginning of the day through.
All right. I was on my front porch. So the tree already was in the apartment, so I felt comfortable. I mean, I wasn't afraid of anything. But I was, where my apartment sits, I can see the mailboxes. And it was getting almost 7-ish, and it was getting dusk. So I'm, squinting to make sure I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing with the porch light, his porch light, well, Craig's porch light. And I kept looking, just making sure, body feature, And then I realized it was him. And I thought, oh, God, no. So I went in and I closed my front door and I locked it. Called 911. I think I said, he's back. It wasn't really clear, I'm sure. But then his hand was like this, knocking on my door. Not like that, but this.
Which door?
My sliding glass door. But it's hard hitting. It's not like go like that. It's like hard.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thought, no, he couldn't be that stupid. But he had not been arrested, of course. So there he was. I didn't think twice. Did I have my weapon on the front porch? Covered, of course, out of sight? Yes, of course I did.
So you had it on the front porch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't take it. No, I did take it in with me.
And where'd you place it when you brought it in?
Behind my back.
Behind your back?
Mm-hmm.
And what was it covered in?
I'm sorry.
What was it covered in?
Not really my blouse a little bit, but it's loose, like I had on the other night. So I just had my hand behind my back, not.
So you see him knocking, and you say he's slamming on the door. What happens then?
I'm still on the phone with 911. And it wouldn't stop. And I thought, no. I pulled the glass door back. I aimed the weapon at him. And I shot. And I meant to shoot. But I'll be damned if I don't take any more of that. You don't do that.
And what happened after you shot him?
I shot him again. You told me how many times I had shot him.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know. Now, I don't think I could have lived with the fact that I killed him, I don't know. I mean, I never used my weapon. I had no idea how loud it was. I used it only on the gun range. And I remember the first time I shot it, I went, God, it's loud. And he fell backwards and he kept crawling away. And I just followed him. I don't know where I was shooting. This time it's really getting dark and I can't see. And can't even really drive at night. So I wasn't aiming. I'm sure I was aiming towards him, that I could see him, yes. But I didn't know where the bullets were going to. I know the stomach. And I thought, no. I will bring you down. If you can do this to me, you're not going to get away with it again. Nobody is going to get away with that. Nobody has the right to do that.
As David crawled away from her in terror, she followed him, shooting him 5 more times. The horror of that is, honestly, unimaginable. And sadly, David's not the only one who has seen the end of her gun, despite her claims that she's inexperienced with it. In the past, the cops were called on her by her own son because she pointed a gun at his head. What was it the cops had said earlier about her appearing stable?
Because when I was out there, we followed his droplets of blood from about your back porch out to the parking lot.
Was it?
His droplets of blood
Uh-huh.
from your back porch to the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
How far would you say that you followed him when he was crawling?
I followed him the whole time.
Okay, but did your last shot that you fired? Do you remember where that was at? Was that, from what I remember, there was a big a pine tree between your apartment and his, and an AC unit.
Yeah.
And was it behind his?
He'd already crawled through the opening between the trees.
Okay.
I was just following.
Okay. And but what I'm trying to get at was, your last shot, was it in the parking lot? Or would it be behind his apartment, or did you shoot?
He was at the... He hadn't gone out on the driveway yet, He was right there.
Okay. By where the privacy fence had blown over?
Yeah, he was going past that. And I don't know when I took the last shot. I know it couldn't have been there because I hadn't realized I was out.
When did you realize you were out? Do you remember where you were standing at behind whose apartment when you realized you were out?
Probably right there at the at where he was laying.
Where he was laying?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was laying in the roadway in the parking lot.
No.
So it would have been before that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone out like that because I didn't have any more bullets. I didn't want to be anywhere close to him.
Okay.
I didn't know there was blood.
Do you remember anybody else being outside?
That same evening?
Yeah, after shooting.
Yeah. I didn't know who it was. It was coming. I could see a figure. And it kept coming close. It was on my right hand side. And I'm glancing, what I could see. And I might really want to pay attention to you with what I'm.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was one of my neighbors. It hazed my guts.
What does that neighbor hate your guts? Do you remember her name?
Brenda.
Do you remember what happened between y'all? Because
Before this? Before we got into
we're
it?
going to kind of go way back, I guess, now.
She's gay. No big deal. Don't tell me you're a lesbian. Yeah, my God, I know you are. Doesn't mean I'm going to judge you or not like you. So we were friends. I mean, Brenda's a very likable person. I have no problem with that. But don't touch me. Don't.
What did Brenda do to you?
We were working on her back porch building a table. I've been helping her. And I really think it was just meant as, maybe if you want to say a joke, I don't really think she meant me any harm. I really don't. I don't know. But anyway, I was bent over and I had, of course, a tank top on. I'm not concerned about my, But we were working, and I mean, to me, it was sort of comical in a way. Because we're standing right together, and I'm holding she's sawing. And it's like her elbow came up against my. I said, Brenda, knock it off. And then she did it again. I said, God damn it, Brenda. Sorry for the language. And I walked off. We were in the backyard. And so we weren't speaking anymore.
As I'm sure you've realized, this is the woman we referenced earlier, who Yogi accused of molesting her. Of course, there is zero evidence that this woman inappropriately touched Yogi whatsoever, and witnesses back that up. Finally, police have a segue to discuss what they've been dying to discuss: Yogi's inappropriate behavior with anyone and everyone.
Obviously, part of our investigation, how we do things, is we go and interview just about every single person because we don't know who saw what the circumstances were. So we've spoken to a tremendous amount of people over at the apartment complex, okay? First person incident we had heard about from a lot of your neighbors, I'm not going to specifically say who, was this incident occurred with you and Brenda, okay? And that I know there was a confrontation between you and Brenda, and I know it was witnessed by a lot of people. So it sounded like it was more than just a little bit of it was funny and we didn't talk.
She wasn't. I mean, after I realized she wasn't playing.
Because I spoke to numerous people out there who told me that you were going around spreading rumors.
I told one woman. One.
And then that woman confronted Brenda.
Yeah.
Because anytime there's an allegation, now it wasn't just about being elbowing in that. This person you're obviously close with, and you know it as Marilyn.
Yeah.
And Marilyn told me y'all are good friends. We're good friends before all this.
We were.
And here's the issues I have, okay? You gotta understand this, Yogi.
Go ahead.
Is that the situation you told me with Brenda is completely different than what you told Marilyn. Marilyn has no reason why. Okay, Marilyn seems like a wonderful woman. Okay, and she told me you said something completely different, that Brenda. And then she approached you about it, and you were a lot more specific than putting your elbow into it. Do you felt like you maybe fabricated a bit?
No, the elbow was true. And then, as I was getting to, she did, like, just under here, cut my. Now, she did touch my. And that's where she made a mistake. It's one thing that I think you're kidding around, but she did touch my breast.
Let me ask you, Yogi, have you at any given point made any advances or any type of innuendos or any conversation, anything context toward?
No. God, no.
Like I said, we talked to just about every person, okay? And the issue and concerns we have here is that we have a man who's hurt. We have a statement provided by you and a statement provided by him. Remember how you talked about he said and she said? And that's unfortunately where we sit at. But we have numerous witnesses indicating that you have had made advances.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not saying you're a bad person or anything like that. I just need to know the full truth and absolute truth. Listen, Yogi, it's not calm down.
I know I gotta calm down.
Listen, the reason we're in here is just to get all these little details put out, and I'd rather it be done now. That way I can take care of this case appropriately. You see what I'm saying? I can't do nothing about it if I don't have the full truth.
Okay.
At any given point, did you want to have relations with?
No.
Did you did you find it fun to be flirtatious with them?
No.
At any given point, and I'm going to get into some specifics, and it might make you feel uncomfortable, okay? At any given point, did you tell that you were active at your age?
Yeah.
And that you had a boy specifically?
No, I would have never seen it.
Have you told anybody that?
No.
Do you own it? I'm sorry.
Because one of my girlfriends went with me, how stupid can you be? I guess what Yogi and I did.
But you haven't told anybody that in your apartment complex?
Oh, God, no. I would never said anything. I let Judy, and I said, Judy, keep your damn mouth shut.
Okay. Have you made any attempts to hug or kiss?
No, never.
Okay. Have you attempted to be, like I said, it's very important that we get all these details. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It's just important that I know the full truth, because I have to be able to build a narrative that makes sense. Because the actions that happen have to be justified. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have received numerous witness statements from many people, and I'm not going to get into specifics about who these individuals are because this is still an active case, that they were approached, had provided much information that you had been a little flirtatious with him, maybe liked him a little bit more. And this is all prior to this incident. It's okay if you were. It doesn't justify the action. Does that make sense?
I did not do that.
Have you been flirtatious with anybody else at the apartment complex?
No, never. I wouldn't do that. Okay.
Do you have any interest? Because obviously talking to witnesses there, they informed me about it. A pest control guy, you being flirtatious with him. And I spoke to him. And he told me that you had become a little bit more forthcoming. You know, you were a little bit more context and had made advances. Is that true?
I had made what?
You know, just kind of flirtatious advances. More innuendo based. Is
Joe?
that? Yes. Is that true?
No, it's not true.
Did you at any given point have any type of relations with Craig, your manager?
No.
You at any point had you spoken to Marilyn and informed her that, you know, you kind of, I had used the word crush, that sounds so juvenile, that you had a crush on Craig and that you were cooking meals for him?
No.
Well, Craig told me that you were bringing meals over to him every single day. Is that true?
No, that is not true.
That is incredibly true, and shockingly, detectives don't even touch on the worst incident. One neighbor became irate with Yogi after she supposedly caught her making sexual comments in an attempt to pick up her 15-year-old grandson.
The night of the 25th, when you you're sitting on your front porch and you see him.
And I went in.
And you went inside. Do you remember talking at any point? If I were to tell you there was a doorbell camera that has audio from the incident, would it refresh your memory that you said something when he was at the mailbox?
I didn't go to the mailbox.
Well, when he was out there, I should specify. You know, in the courtyard?
Yeah.
Did you say that I have a gift for you or I have something for you? Do you remember saying that? I want you to recall in your memory.
I would have said that
You would have said it?
because my gun was on the front patio. I didn't think to bring it in.
And you would have said that?
To have kept him there, not that he was going to leave.
You were worried about him leaving.
Yeah, I didn't want him to leave.
Why didn't you want him to leave? It's important we get all
Because I
the
felt
devils in
like
the
he
details.
was not going to leave. He was back to start again.
So you told him you had something for him.
Yeah, I did.
And what did he say to you?
Okay. He said, "We'll make it fast." I said, okay. And I did.
And you made it fast.
Yeah, I made it fast.
Did you think you had something like maybe mail, a box for him or something in those terms?
Small gift. A small gift.
Just enough to hold him there?
Yeah.
You were trying to hold him there because he had a warrant. You wanted law enforcement to get there, right?
Yeah. And I thought when I called them, they would come right then.
Did you take actions into your own hands because you didn't want, because law enforcement told you they wouldn't be able to get there immediately?
No. No. I did. When I shot, I meant what I said. I know I don't know what I said to him, but it wasn't going to happen again.
On the night of the 25th, Yogi did indeed approach David and tell him that she had something for him. Yogi actually apologized to David, saying she was sorry for an interaction that the two had the day prior, one that also was captured on a neighbor's doorbell camera. To make up for it, she wanted to give him a gift.
On the 24th, the day before the shooting, do you remember at any point where you tried to kiss towards around the area of the mailbox and then pushed you back? It's
No.
important that you recall, is to the best of your knowledge, if that happened. Because, again, when I told you about audio and video recordings, it's very important that at this point we get all the details out. Did you attempt to kiss?
No, I did not.
Can you specify on that situation? 'Cause I know you probably remember that.
The day you was at the mailbox?
Yes. Which should have been the 24th, the day before the shooting.
After the first attack.
Yes, ma'am.
That can't be right.
Yogi, again,
Is that what happened?
that is what happened. If you can't recall it, you cannot recall it. But I want to get all the fine details out. I want everything laid out so I
I
don't.
remember I was at the mailbox one time. He came in from work and we had a confrontation. And he said, I heard that you said something about me. I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I told one friend, Sandy, on the very end. Just the shoulder.
Yogi, can I tell you something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're a bad person by any means, and I've told you this a few times. I think you've been always cordial to us. You've been wonderful. You've been cooperative in the sense that you've come talk to us today. You want to come talk here to talk to us about this because you had some stuff you said you wanted, obviously wanted to change your statements around and stuff like that. And I appreciate you coming down here on your own free
I
will.
wanted you to talk to me also.
I know you had called me a few times, and I'm sorry I didn't return them immediately. It is very important, just in our job, that we exonerate the innocent as much as it is to put away the guilty. We spend a tremendous more time sometimes trying to make sure innocent people don't go to jail or get in trouble. On September 22nd, and I'm going to remind you that there's always things that people don't realize are out there, whether it's video, if it's audio. Did the incident actually occur? Did he attempt to that night?
Yes, he did.
And I'm not calling you a liar. What I'm trying to say to you is I have a fear, as my profession, I've been doing this for a bit. I believe that, and I'll tell you, I'm going to show you all my cards. I believe that you wanted more from him than what he was giving back to you. He had no interest in you. And it's okay. This thing happens. Let me just finish what I'm going to say and I'll let you respond to it. I'm not sure if you had noticed, but I've been showing a little extra attention to a lady named Vicky there. I know that you had walked outside of Vicky's residence. This was brought up by multiple witnesses in there. And you had seen with Vicky inside of her living room. This obviously upsets you because you paced back and forth multiple times. It's okay. Let me just finish and I'll let you respond. I believe that this incident blew up way more than it should have. I believe the reason why you didn't want to report this to law enforcement was because it didn't happen. I think you wanted there to be repercussions for. I think you wanted him out of the apartment complex because you were upset with him. And I can understand why you didn't want to report this because you know the turmoil would have been cross-checking facts and evidence.
All right.
Would you say that is a true and accurate statement?
No, it is not.
And the issue is that I look at this more as a fatal attraction. Okay? I believe in these circumstances that did not do what you said happened on September 22nd.
Why would you say that?
I can tell you that medically, it is impossible for him to have any type. And there's documentation. Let me just allow me to speak with this. You informed nobody else about any allegations. Why is it that all of coworkers had heard this statement, had heard about how you had been following him around, how you had been stalking outside prior to this, and he had no contact with any of his coworkers in the hospital? There was a correctional officer sitting on him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yogi, this is a time that we can fix the problem we have now. And before we dig that hole any deeper, again, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think you're a bad person. I think that Craig overstepped and kind of convinced you to contact law enforcement that when the only thing you wanted initially was for to leave.
He did leave.
Did the incidents on September 22nd actually occur? Or did you make this story up and it got blown out of proportion because Craig got involved?
Yeah.
Is there any statement on September 22nd that you would like to change now? And I want you to know, Yogi, that's important.
I know.
Because we're talking about, this, you have to understand,
I know.
we're at a point of an innocent man who's been in the event that he's innocent. He's injured in a hospital. He has life debilitating injuries that he will never be the same again. And it is absolutely important that we know the full truth.
It's incredibly important for them to know the truth, because the fact that David even survived his injuries is a miracle. He was hospitalized for several months from being shot in the legs, pelvis, abdomen, and one of his arms. Though he managed to pull through, he has debilitating PTSD and several chronic conditions from the injuries he sustained. And yet Yogi continues to lie, unable to show any remorse.
Why would you invite him into your home and then these allegations come forward?
I didn't know that's what he was going to do when he entered my door. How would I have known what he was going to do?
I understand that, Yogi. But again, understand how testimony and statement works. Is why wasn't this told to us in the beginning?
I didn't remember it that way. I didn't remember when I told Detective Touchdown it was that way.
Yogi,
Yes.
let me ask you,
Okay.
and again, I cannot stress or harp enough when it comes to evidence. When you came in here on the 25th, Investigator Timo brought to my attention that you lacked any injury to your arms or your wrist. Is what, 250 pounds? He's a heavy man.
Yeah.
Him placing his weight onto you, and you even stated how frail your wrists are, and how your extended age.
No, there's no bruises or anything left.
But do you understand how easy it is to bruise, especially when you're 7 years old? You had no signs of no injury.
No, I didn't.
Those would stay with you well over that time period. What I'm fearful is I don't want you to walk out this door today without telling me the absolute 100% truth about what happened on September 22nd. Because I don't think I attempted to that day. What if I told you it wasn't even there?
He was there.
What did you do on the 22nd then? Because it wasn't this incident. It was there. I'm telling you, based off of everything we have in this case, this incident, the way you're telling it, didn't happen.
What do you mean it didn't happen?
The way you're telling it, I need to know exactly on the 22nd. You said at first you were in the bathroom. You thought you heard the sliding glass door. Now you're telling me that it's a very good possibility you let.
It was in the bathroom.
We talked. It was just friendly. There was no touching involved initially.
And he did put his arms around me. He said, kiss me. Or let me kiss you, one or the other. His arms were already around me. I know I'm not wrong about that.
Continue. So his arms were already around you, and he went to kiss you. What happened?
I turned my head. Then I turned it back. He did kiss me, but it wasn't like a, maybe it was, I don't know. Like wanting to touch me, wanting to be with me. And I said no. Well, I'm clarifying things now.
I appreciate it. This is important to us.
Yes, it is. I understand that. I did not make it up. Parts I've told you about the bed. I can't make it up. I did not make it up. I did not want to call 911 because I knew anything like this was going to lead me right here to where I am.
Yogi is sitting where she is because she stalked an innocent man, shot him, and then framed him for one of the worst crimes you can commit, all because he didn't reciprocate her advances. She continues to maintain her story that he pinned her to the bed and took advantage of her, despite absolutely no evidence or logical reasoning backing up that story. At this point, law enforcement didn't have an arrest warrant, so they were forced to part ways with Yogi.
Like I said, I think we have enough of the statement and story to be able to plug in those empty spaces we had, okay? And what I really appreciate you wanting to come down here to talk to us willfully. It was very important, and it shows a lot on your end that you wanted to kind of specify on some things as well. Do you mind raising your right hand for me? Do you swear and affirm everything you told me today is the absolute and whole truth?
Yes,
to the
I
best of
did.
your knowledge.
Today is the, yes.
Okay, perfect.
I mean,
And let's get you on home, okay? Here, we'll talk on the way out.
Yogi may have gone home, but she didn't stay there for long. Due to overwhelming evidence, she was taken into custody and charged with attempted murder. In 2022, she was sentenced to life, where she will undoubtedly continue to play the victim. Fortunately, things worked out better for David. He was awarded a $50 million settlement from the apartment management company as a result of their negligence. The prosecution argued that Yogi had repeatedly shown herself to be a threat, and the complex moved David in with no warning of her prior offenses.